Hi and welcome back to 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏𝗀𝗀. Today guys, we're going to be jumping down into the charts for Vechain, taking a look at what's been going on most recently and what I would expect to happen next. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏𝗀. If you have not yet joined us in Discord, links in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. So why not go ahead and check it out today? Okay, guys, let's get into this, right? So Vechain paired up with the USDT. This is the hourly chart, and Binance is our data source. So not much has really changed, right? It's been very, very stagnant, very boring. And essentially what we've been doing here is actually just trading sideways in this continuation pattern. So what's going to be interesting to see is this move to the upside, right? I'm still expecting that higher 4 cent. I think it's hard to kind of see it right now, specifically with all of the kind of volatility or lack of volatility in the regard that we are just trading kind of sideways here. But let's kind of break this down and see what is going on. Obviously, I'm still expecting those lows to come in afterwards. So if we take a look at the stochastic RSI, it's corrected down quite nicely. So I'm still expecting this move to the upside, this slow move up. The 4 hourly is, of course, almost up into the overbought area. The 8 hourly just up into the overbought. The daily almost up in the overbought. So we're almost ready for this big drop to the downside towards 1.8 cent, in my opinion. Okay, so we're getting there. It's just it's a bit slow progress. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look. Right, so we have obviously clearly 3 waves coming up here. Right, so again, pretty standard stuff that we have this, and this is relatively complex, but it is following Bitcoin, and Bitcoin should be complex at this point. So we can take a look at this as a couple of different things here. Now this is lower than this move over here, right? So we have this little candle on the 19th of May at 3 a.m. UTC. UTC +1, that is, so it's UK time, and it's a little bit lower than it was over here on the 14th of May at 1700 hours UTC +1. So what does that mean? Well, it means that we've got some interesting kind of moves. It means that we're not necessarily in a triangle that I was expecting to see. So, for example, right, we should have 1, 2, and 3 here. Okay, that's pretty obvious. We have that. We come up. This is all pretty good so far. Okay, and then of course we come here. Now this is where things deviate. We have this really big one, and it takes us down lower than the original C over here. Now this can happen. It's not overly problematic, but it's something a little bit unexpected. Okay, but let's go ahead and map this through, right? So if this is a triangle, then what are we looking for? Well, we'll be looking for this to be an A, this to be a B, this would have to be a C, would look for our D, would come down for an E, which could be unpredictable, and then we get the break to the upside. Okay, but there should be 2 touch points on our on our lower end as well as our upper end. And we don't necessarily have that because of this one little wick here. Now, it's possible that we don't have it as a contracting triangle, but maybe more of an expanding one. But again, you would expect these ones to be higher up the top as well. So it's an interesting one. I don't know how that's going to necessarily play out. I think essentially we are just trading sideways in a continuation pan. It just might not be an Elliott wave triangle. But I still expect us to break to the upside from here. Okay, so if we were to go ahead and measure the top here to the bottom this side, move it over to that low point that's just over here, and you can see that we're moving out to about 4.043. So it has come down a little bit. So let's go ahead and just put this to 4.3, and we'll grab this one and we'll also move it to 4.3. Okay, so that's now our target, right? That's the point where we want to be kind of exiting out at the maximum end. Obviously, there's a lot of resistance to be had all across here as well, so we should be very, very mindful, specifically of this area at 3.667. This is an area that was support, became resistance, so this is going to be a bit of a barrier. So, just because a 1-to-1 ratio is 4.043 doesn't necessarily mean that's exactly what is going to play out. So we should be very cautious, specifically around this area just here. And I'll quickly just mark that up with a horizontal line right there. Okay, basically, 3670. Let me just check to see if that is, it's actually 666. So I'm just going to just bring that down. It's that one there. And I'm just going to check this one here as well. And that comes in at 6.8. So that's going to be the zone. I'm going to also just remove, I'm going to quickly remove that. I don't need that one. And I might as well remove that. I'll remove that, and I'll keep that one in. Okay, cool. So that gives us a bit of an idea, right, guys, that we are looking to move on up. And then obviously once this high comes in, we should look to collapse down. That daily is going to be the example of moving down pretty significantly, okay? So just keep that in mind. Also, the other way of looking at this, I guess, would be that this could have been a wave, actually. Just taking a second look, we could have A, B, C, D, unpredictable E, breaking out now, and that's also a possibility. So keep that in mind. It still could be a triangle, but I've just not looked at it at the right angle there. Okay, cool. So that's our hourly chart, right? We're looking for that move up. Now, if we kind of just come up into a 4-hourly chart, once this is done and we've actually moved up that high and we kind of take out these high points, whether that is 3.6 or 4%, we then should be thinking about this pullback down now. On a 1-to-1 ratio, this is 1.8. However, it all depends on how high we end up going. Okay, that will change the target low. So we should be thinking about where things are likely to go. So if we take this entire measurement, we were to pull this over to, let's say, 4 cent. This is indicating to us 1.771. If, however, we don't go as high as that and we come down here, then all of a sudden we are talking about 1.6. Okay, so we should be very, very open to the idea of lots of different variable moves going on here. So I'll leave this up here at 1.8 for now. This actually then shows us with our 1.77 range. And, you know, we'll just be open to the idea that if that doesn't happen, we're going to potentially come down a lower, okay, as Bitcoin also bleeds out. So just keep an eye on that. There's going to be some fantastic opportunities to accumulate a little bit more as this price potentially pulls back significantly further. Okay, cool. So yeah, with all that being said, let's jump up into our daily and then obviously just bring this back out so we can have a look at the macro view, right? Because essentially this is all corrective. Once this correction is done, we should then be thinking about some upward moves. Now, we've got this ABC structure here that failed to hit our impulsive trigger points. We know that we're not impulsive, but I still would like to keep this above this A wave if possible. Dropping down to 1.77 though, however, would cross below that. So again, it'll be interesting to kind of see how that plays out. Moving down to 1.77 would be a 93% retracement. And again, that's a pretty typical bear market low area for Vechain, right? So corrective structure up, corrective structure down. We'll be looking for corrective structure up. And essentially, if we think about this as a much bigger structure across multiple years, then actually what you've got here could potentially be some kind of really big ABC structure, okay? And in that kind of sense, we've done this before. This is extremely unlikely, but I will show you this anyway. Okay, if we were to come down to 1.77, then this high would show us at $3.15, okay, going up into the next run higher. Now, it's possible, I just don't think it's necessarily likely, but again, that gives you that kind of structure across multiple years of, you know, a corrective pattern playing out. Once you reach this top here, though, however, you would potentially be looking at coming potentially all the way back down into these low areas, right? So one way or another, when we take a look at these things, we have to acknowledge that, you know, a corrective pattern might be taking us, you know, from significant highs like this all the way back down into these kind of really low retracements. And if we were to kind of stick to a 95% or 93% retracement, you are talking about bringing this all the way back down to like 10 cent again at a later stage. So everything moves around in waves. We know this, but basically they're mapping psychology or mapping people's behavior in the space, right? So if we are looking at this as an entire corrective structure across multiple years, and the next surge up will be really, really powerful in a very similar way to what we saw previously after this corrective play is finished. And then from there, really, we are talking about, yeah, a really good run and then another kind of bear market bringing us back down again, which will be fantastic for more accumulation of VET. And, you know, going long term, obviously, you know, everything that they're doing fundamentally is fantastic. And I do imagine it's hard, actually, I'll tell you what, it's really hard to imagine Vechain not being around in 10 years from now, right? They have so much real world adoption, so much going on in the space. You know, it's not for retail investors. You have to understand this, right? It's not that you're going to be seeing lots of retail investor apps or dApps on the ecosystem. It is being used globally by enterprises for their purposes, right? These are businesses, business to business transactions on chain, specifically around things like traceability or authentication. Don't get me wrong, though, Vechain are trying to get into the B2C. They're trying to get into the consumer-facing stuff as well with DeFi, with their stablecoin and all that other kind of good stuff. But that takes a bit more time and you need more bullish markets, whereas the enterprise side is something that they are very much concreted into. So understand that there's a huge level of adoption here around Vechain, and it's from some of the world's biggest companies. Okay, so just keep that in the back of your head, and do a lot of solid research on this one. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor. I cannot offer you financial advice. All I can do is give you my thoughts and opinions on the charts and the data here, and obviously what I have researched. I urge you guys to do your own research, not just on price analysis, but on the fundamentals of the project as well. There's a lot of fake news out there around Vechain, a lot of people that have circulated incorrect information, so you have to dig deep if you want to actually find the real stuff, and make sure you have verifiable sources and all that kind of good stuff. With all this said, done out of the way though, guys, I am going to leave the video there. If you found it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.